Arrest in question. A man ends up in the hospital after witnesses say he was attacked by city police officers. The investigation launched into the incident. Hello, everybody. I'm Denise Koch, and here's what people are talking about tonight. A man is in critical condition following a videotaped encounter with city police. But questions still remain about what happened in the moments after the arrest that put him in the hospital. WJZ is live outside City Police headquarters. Christy Aletto spoke with witnesses about the incident. Christy?
Well, Denise, witnesses describe the arrest as brutal. His family tells me Freddie Gray now has spinal injuries, but police say when they saw the video, there was no use of excessive force. Witnesses capture the final moments of an arrest that send this man to shock trauma.
At no time, and I've seen the video a number of times, did I see a use of force at that moment.
Baltimore police won't reveal the reason why bike cops stopped the fleeing individual that family members have now identified as Freddie Gray. But Gray's stepfather speaks to us by phone saying he's barely alive.
His face is swollen. He just looks really horrible. And like I said, he's in a seduced coma at the moment. We're all praying.
So walk us through what you saw.
I seen the police, him handcuffed, him teased while he was handcuffed.
His leg broken, y'all dragging him like that.
Police say right now there's no evidence Gray was tased. His godbrother just left the ICU and didn't want his face on camera.
I seen the police officer bending his leg, like to the point where it looked like he broke it.
Police say the video doesn't show officers using excessive force, but they do say that the suspect was brought here to Maryland shock trauma with injuries. So what happened from the time that he was arrested to the point that he was brought here to the hospital?
He was completely healthy, fine, being caught up besides, his leg, but it's nowhere near to how he's sitting in ICU right now.
A gap in time police are working to close, uncovering what happened in the moments that weren't recorded and how Gray ended up like this. Now, police say the officers that were involved are on administrative assignment. Denise, back to you.
All right, thank you, Christy. Now, anyone else who witnessed the arrest or has video is being asked to contact police.
All right, the man who was severely injured after being arrested by Baltimore police has slipped into a coma. This is according to his attorney, Warren Brown. Brown says he'll speak tomorrow publicly about the case involving Freddie Gray. On Sunday, Gray apparently ran from officers and was hurt in the process. Cell phone video you're looking at right now shows Gray screaming as he was taken to a police van. Police say it's not clear if it was a medical emergency or if he was injured during the arrest. We're going to let you know what happens at the press conference tomorrow with Warren Brown.
Baltimore City Police are investigating some of their own officers. They want to know if they have something to do with the injuries a man suffered while in custody. The victim is in shock trauma and critical condition. Police haven't said why he was arrested, but part of what happened was caught on cell phone video recorded by a neighbor. Friends of the man say as officers lifted him up to put him into a police van, his legs appeared to go limp. Police say the video doesn't show everything, and they don't see anything from that video that shows excessive force.
Hello, I'm Kai Jackson.
And I'm Jennifer Gilbert. Tonight, a community is outraged by what they're calling excessive force by Baltimore police.
The suspected victim remains listed in critical condition at shock trauma, and as crime and justice reporter Joy Lapola explains, there are questions about whether police are responsible.
Tonight, at least 4 Baltimore police officers are under investigation by their department in hopes of finding out if the officers' actions landed a man in the hospital and listed in critical condition. This cell phone video,
I just heard yelling like somebody was getting hurt,
shows Freddie Gray already on the ground. Police say they chased him here to Gilmore Homes from North Avenue. The department won't say why they were trying to stop him.
We're not going to get into that because that's part of the investigation. There are charges against him that will be filed. We haven't interviewed all of the officers yet.
Friends say this is Gray tonight at shock trauma. The question for investigators is how he ended up in this condition after being loaded into a police van.
It's injuries that are serious enough to where we're concerned.
Neighbors I spoke to say they could hear Gray yelling.
It was chaos.
They shared what they saw, but asked we not show their face.
Now, everybody sees the video. He looks responsive to me. He looks like he's, alert.
Friends watch as the van leaves. They think it's headed to the district. right up until they heard Gray again yelling for help. The van had stopped, and Gray was outside of the vehicle again.
It's a piece missing. After he left this block, something happened.
I asked Deputy Police Commissioner Jerry Rodriguez what he knew.
At some point, we believe that additional restraints were put on this individual, but I don't want to speculate and I don't want to give partial information.
Police returned to West Baltimore this morning to further investigate what happened.
It's injuries that are serious enough to where we're concerned. Right now, we know that this individual had contact with the police. We know that this individual suffered an injury. We don't know what the cause is yet.
The officers at the center of this investigation have been placed on administrative duty for the time being. Joy LaPola, Fox 45 News.
Moving on tonight, new questions about the actions of Baltimore City Police while handling a suspect who is now in critical condition and friends say on life support. The incident happened earlier this week.
And this is not the first time the department has had to answer were the right procedures followed once the man was inside a police wagon. I-Team lead investigative reporter Jane Miller is live downtown with more on that story. Jane.
Donna, a lot of cell phone video was taken of this incident from people in the neighborhood, but what this investigation really hinges on is what happened inside that police van where no camera was rolling. Video from a neighbor's cell phone shows the man, identified as Freddie Gray, after he'd been arrested Monday by police in West Baltimore.
We recording it.
This is how Gray appeared as officers put him in a police wagon and took him out of view. He's talking, able to move his legs. He lifts his head. Video at a different location shows Gray had been taken out of the van. Police say for additional restraint. Here, Gray is seen on the pavement on his knees. But this is the way Gray appeared later. After, while still in police custody, he was taken to a hospital. Friends say he was suffering from a broken neck, the most severe spinal cord injury, which can cause paralysis. What happened to lead to the injury? Now the focus of the investigation. Police are required to secure a prisoner who's being transported so they don't bounce around inside a police van while handcuffed, exposing them to injury. The department's questionable handling of prisoners previously has led to expensive litigation. Jeffrey Alston was left paralyzed and in need of constant nursing care. After his arrest in 1997, he argued city police threw him headfirst into a police van after being stopped for a speeding ticket. He suffered a broken neck. The city settled his lawsuit for $6 million. And in December 2005, a suspect died of a fractured spine. His family argued city police failed to secure him with a seatbelt inside the police van. A jury awarded the family $7 million when they sued. In that 2005 case, the police officer who was driving the van in that case testified that police didn't always follow procedure by securing the prisoner if the prisoner was unpredictable. It is not known at this point what the driver in this case says. Reporting live tonight from downtown, I'm Jane Miller, WBAL TV 11 News.
A suspect in police custody ends up on life support at shock trauma. Now, 4 Baltimore City police officers are under investigation. First on Fox tonight, Kathleen Cairns talks to the suspect's mother.
Yeah, see, they don't know what the deal be.
A mother's grief.
Sure is dark times for me, yeah, sure is.
Gloria Dalton says her son Freddie Gray visits her every day, but he didn't show up Sunday morning.
I've been recording it. What car did it come out of?
Witnesses using their cell phones show Freddie under arrest. Police will not say why they were pursuing Freddie.
There are charges against him that will be filed. We haven't interviewed all of the officers yet.
But after he was put in a police wagon, he ended up at shock trauma on life support. The question now, what happened?
Right now, we know that this individual had contact with the police. We know that this individual suffered an injury. We don't know what the cause is yet. We don't know what contributing factors may have led to this. We don't know what conditions pre-existed this contact with the officer. So we have a lot of questions.
Now 4 police officers are under investigation.
They was beating him up. They was in there beating him up.
We found Freddie Gray does have a long criminal record. In fact, he's due in court 3 times in the next 6 weeks for drug and assault charges. Still,
And he was giving himself up, but they didn't care. They just wanted to beat my son up.
Gloria already buried her other son 18 months ago.
Somebody shot him.
She hopes she doesn't have to plan another funeral now for Freddie.
But he shouldn't be laying there, baby. He shouldn't be laying there.
They're praying he survives. In Baltimore, Kathleen Cairns, Fox 45 News.
We have some new details tonight about a man injured during an arrest.
The Baltimore Police Department has released a timeline now of the arrest of Freddie Gray. He was the one who was severely injured while in custody of police and he has slipped into a coma. Now, this started at 8:39 Sunday morning when police approached Gray at North Avenue at Mount Street. They say he ran from them. The police aren't saying why they approached him, adding it remains part of the investigation. 1 minute later, Gray was taken into police custody on Pressbury Street. 2 minutes after that, a prisoner transport van was called in. 12 minutes later, after putting Gray in an additional restraints, the wagon left from Mount and Baker Street, about a block south from where police took Gray into custody. Now, video shows he was still conscious, and he was speaking at this time. Almost 30 minutes later, paramedics showed up to take Gray to a hospital, and police are not saying what happened in that 30 minutes to cause Gray to need medical attention. Police say they were then using every available resource for this investigation that's ongoing.
Stan, we're at Coppin State University, and we're here because in about an hour and a half, the Department of Justice is going to start to hear from Baltimore residents about what they think on the topic of police conduct. And they're certainly going to hear about allegations like the one that is a current issue, and that is what happened to Freddie Gray. Our check today on Freddie Gray's condition, critical, according to a spokesperson at Shock Trauma. Friends say Gray suffered a broken neck Sunday, the day he was arrested by city police. Police now say homicide detectives and crime lab techs have joined the investigation into what happened to Gray in what should have been a routine, harmless arrest on a West Baltimore street. Police used a standard technique when they caught Gray after chasing him for a still undisclosed reason, when one put a knee in his back to keep him down. One of Gray's friends, who doesn't want to be identified, witnessed that.
Once he laid on the ground flat with his hands up, the police took his knee and down and put it down in his back and bent it and got the bend in his leg, put him in handcuffs.
Police dragged Gray to the police wagon. He appeared to be mobile and talking when he was first put in. Did something happen later inside the wagon to put him in a coma? In new timeline details released today, police say officers called for the wagon at 8:42 Sunday morning. By 8:54, the wagon had stopped at a second location. Gray had been taken out, put on the pavement, and confined by more restraints. Police say he was conscious and talking there, too. At 9:24, police called for a medic to respond to the Western District Precinct and take Gray to the hospital. That's a 30-minute gap with no further detail, and the precinct is just 3 blocks from the scene of the original arrest. And heard on the police scanner today, a requirement that city police officers report in not just when a suspect is in custody, but also when he or she is properly belted in the wagon. Reporting live tonight from West Baltimore, I'm Jane Miller, WBAL TV 11 News.
A man arrested by Baltimore City Police remains in a coma right now at a city hospital. Friends and family want to know how he wound up in critical condition, and now investigators release a timeline of exactly what led up to Freddie Gray's hospitalization. WJZ is live at police headquarters. Megan McCorkle has more on this case. Megan?
Well, Denise, investigators still haven't said why they arrested Gray in the first place as he spends a 5th day in critical condition. Cell phone video shows Freddie Gray screaming as police drag him into a transport van Sunday morning. This is what he looked like Monday, in a coma at Shock Trauma.
There's a lot of questions, and this is very serious, and we need to get to the bottom of that.
Now police have released a timeline of the arrest. Investigators say they first encountered Gray at 8:39 a.m. at the corner of North and Mount Streets, but he ran away. At 8:40, they caught up with him and took him into custody in the 1700 block of Pressbury. 2 minutes later, officers call for a prisoner transport van. At 8:54, Gray is put in additional restraints inside the van. Police say video surveillance shows he is conscious and talking, but at 9:24, an ambulance is called to the Western District Police Station to take him to the hospital. Now friends and family members want to know what happened between 8:54 when the van left
And 9:24 when Gray needed medical attention here at the police station.
It wasn't right. And in the time frame they saying at the time when the ambulance came, it just don't add up. Where was he at and what was they doing at the time? That, you know, I want that time should be accounted for.
Neighbors say this has caused an uproar in the community and reinforced a distrust of the police.
When they cross the law, they should be tried the same way we're tried when we're breaking law. But the thing is, they're not being.
Police leaders are vowing a thorough investigation.
And all 4 officers involved in the arrest are now on administrative duties pending the results of the investigation. We're live at City Police Headquarters tonight. I'm Megan McCorkle, WJZ Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you very much, Megan. A candlelight vigil for Freddie Gray is planned for Saturday night in the 1700 block of Presbury. The group plans to march to the Western District Police Station.
Well, tonight the 11 News I-team has tracked down a new witness in the case of a man who was critically injured while in police custody, the city police that is. Her account sheds new light on how officers handled the man in what should have been a routine arrest. Lead investigative reporter Jane Miller is live in the newsroom with the new details. Jane.
Donna, this new account concerns what happened when the police van carrying Freddie Gray stopped at a second location so police could put on Gray more restraints.
Freddie Gray's arrest Sunday morning on a West Baltimore street was recorded by neighbors. He'd been chased down by police for a still undisclosed reason. He was talking, mobile, and standing up when he was first put in the police wagon. But just a couple blocks later, at a second stop, Gray was taken out of the van and put on the pavement. Gray was already handcuffed. The witness we spoke with, who doesn't want to be publicly identified, says at this stop, police also put cuffs on his ankles. She then watched, she says, how they put Gray back in the van.
They threw him in the paddy wagon face first, face down. And mind you, his arms and his legs are, locked up. He was face down, as if like he was on his stomach. And they just threw him in the paddy wagon face down.
Head first?
Head first. Ankles bonded, arms bonded.
It's not known if Gray's injury, a broken neck, occurred at that point. He was in the police wagon another 30 minutes, according to a police timeline, before medics were called.
And just checked with a spokesperson at Shock Trauma, Freddie Gray remains in critical condition. Reporting live tonight from the newsroom, I'm Jane Miller, WBAL TV 11 News.
A man is being taken into custody by police, ends up in a coma. Now, 7 days later, it is still a mystery how it happened. WJZ is live. Mike Hsu joins us with details from a massive protest. Mike?
Well, Marcus, the idea with family and friends is to keep the pressure on police and the mayor to determine what really happened to Freddie Gray. When being arrested, Freddie Gray can't even walk. But it gets worse. Soon his voice box will be partially crushed. 3 bones in his neck will be broken. Police can't or won't say how he ends up like this, on a ventilator, in a coma. Is he going to pull through?
We don't know. He just laying there. He just laying there.
In his neighborhood, hundreds are gathering, including his mom, who doesn't want to be on camera. She wonders why police didn't protect her son while in custody.
That's right, but they didn't check my son.
They didn't protect him?
They didn't check my son.
Violence isn't just talk on Baker Street. Some of these people live it. Rhonda Herring's son was murdered 100 feet from where we walk. She's fed up and blames the mayor. She wasn't in the back of that police van. How can you blame her?
Okay, well, I can blame her because this wasn't the first incident, and she knows it's not the first incident.
This friction and this pain that exists in our community didn't happen overnight. It's not going to be fixed overnight, but I'm not afraid to tackle that challenge because it's worth it.
Teresa Johnson says her son was beaten when he was arrested. But the word you used to me before was, it's getting to be routine.
It's getting to be routine.
The end point, the Western District. Police guard the front door. The crowd, now over 200 strong, go no closer and finish with prayer. Their call is for justice for Freddie Gray and for his family, peace. Now, until more answers are revealed, the minister who was leading this march says he wants the same group to gather next Saturday and every Saturday until the answers come forth. I'm Mike Hsu, WJZ Eyewitness News, reporting live. Marcus, back to you on TV Hill.
All right, Mike, thank you. And police have assembled a special panel made up of officers from 4 units to investigate. Their findings will go to the state's attorney, who will decide if any officers will be charged.
A protest today for Freddie Gray, the West Baltimore man who ended up at shock trauma while in police custody. Families and friends say days after the incident, they are no closer to finding out what really happened.
Everybody lift those hands as high as you can.
In West Baltimore, a call for peace.
No peace!
And a demand for answers.
What happened to Freddie was unnecessary and uncalled for.
Yes. As Freddie Gray clings to life.
All day, we gon' fight for Freddie Gray!
Friends and families march for justice.
Just to see him in the hospital bed, like I said, that's tough.
Police say Sunday morning, officers working in an area with a history of drug dealing and violence see Freddie Gray at North Avenue and Mount Street. As the officers approach, Freddie runs. But we still don't know the reason for the approach. Police addressed the case Tuesday.
We're not going to get into that because that's part of the investigation. There are charges against him that will be filed. We haven't interviewed all of the officers yet.
Freddie was put in the police wagon and ended up at shock trauma.
From what I see on the videotape, they sitting on his legs. 2 police. So how do he make it from the ground to a hospital bed with a brace on his neck, unconscious? I don't know.
Gray is on life support.
Right now, we know that this individual had contact with the police. We know that this individual suffered an injury. We don't know what the cause is yet. We don't know what contributing factors may have led to this. We don't know what conditions pre-existed this contact with the officer. So we have a lot of questions.
No justice, no peace.
Answers these folks say just aren't good enough.
I want all 4 of the police that beat my nephew. I want all 4 of them out of there.
Now you can see the full police press conference. Just go to foxbaltimore.com and click on Raw News.
And tonight we start with Freddie Gray, the man who has now died after being injured in an apparent confrontation with Baltimore City Police. Good evening, I'm Christian Schaefer. Freddie Gray's family has now hired a high-profile attorney who says police are trying to cover up what happened. ABC 2 News' Catherine Hawley is live outside City Hall where city leaders held a news conference today. Catherine.
The mayor and police commissioner say they have the same questions as Freddie Gray's family, friends, and loved ones. How exactly he went from being a healthy 25-year-old to laying in shock trauma with a severe spinal injury. Gray passed away this morning exactly 1 week after being arrested by 4 bike cops in West Baltimore. Now, part of that arrest was captured on cell phone video last Sunday morning. Baltimore City Police say officers tried to stop Gray for reasons they still won't reveal, but he ran, only to be caught down the street and then taken into custody. Investigators revealed a timeline of the arrest earlier this week, and at question is the 45-minute span between Gray being loaded into a transport van and officers calling for an ambulance to get him to the hospital. Friends tell us they think this is a case of police brutality, while top city leaders vow to get real answers.
You know, my greatest hope and wish and desires is anytime we have an interaction as a police department or a contact, that everyone goes home safe as a result of that contact. All lives matter. All lives matter in this city.
The police department says that they are working with the state's attorney's office to complete their investigation, and they do plan to have an outside panel review the case. Gray's family is working with attorney Billy Murphy Jr., and he tells us that he has zero confidence that the BPD will reveal a real picture of what actually happened last weekend. We'll have more on that coming up tonight on ABC 2 News at 11. For now, live outside of City Hall, Catherine Hawley, ABC 2 News.
Good evening, I'm Jennifer Gilbert. A man arrested by Baltimore City police officers last Sunday has died. Fox 45 was the first station to break the news of Freddie Gray's death. He ended up in the hospital with critical injuries after he was taken into police custody. And tonight, there are still a lot of questions about what happened. Paul Gessler joins us live now from police headquarters. Paul.
Jennifer, a week ago today, Baltimore City Police chased and arrested Freddie Gray in what some witnesses call a case of police brutality. Gray died this morning after spending a week in a coma, and now the 4 police officers involved are staying quiet during the course of the investigation.
I've been recorded. We caught it.
It was a week ago Sunday, Baltimore City bicycle police officers chased Freddie Gray from North Avenue to the Gilmore homes. They say he was a suspect or involved in criminal activity, something his attorneys reject. Gray died Sunday morning.
All lives matter. All lives matter in this city.
City Police Commissioner Anthony Batts says the department reached out to Gray's family, who declined to meet with them.
We want answers, closure, and justice for Freddie.
His friends and family point to this cell phone video of Gray's arrest, where police are seen leading a weak Gray into a police van.
After they detain show like that, you wonder why he can't use his legs.
It's not a pleasant video, but I can't describe his medical condition at the time.
Police say they have not interviewed the officers directly involved, citing their rights to not incriminate themselves.
We take 10 steps forward and then we take 10 steps backwards. It seems that we, for all the progress we've made, we just seem to can't get around these types of incidents.
City leaders assure the public there will be a thorough review involving the state's attorney's office.
I will ensure that we will hold the right people accountable.
Immediately after Sunday afternoon's press briefing, Gray's family's attorney issued this statement accusing police of, quote, keeping the circumstances of Freddie's death secret until they develop a version of events that will absolve them of all responsibility. Now, the Gray family attorney said in that statement the 27-year-old's spine was 80% severed. The 4 police officers who were involved in Gray's arrest have all been placed on administrative leave. Reporting live from downtown Baltimore outside police headquarters, Paul Gessler, Fox 45 News.
Thank you, Paul. And tonight, Freddie Gray's family isn't alone in their search for answers. Even Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake says city officials are trying to get to the bottom of this.
The questions that many of you have are the same questions that we're asking. How was Mr. Gray injured? Were our proper protocols and procedures actually followed? What are the next steps to take from here?
Well, here is what we do know so far. Police say they first approached Gray at 8:39 last Sunday morning at North Avenue and Mount Street. After a 1-minute chase, bike patrol officers have Gray on the ground near Gilmore Homes, just a few blocks away from North Avenue. Within a couple of minutes, the department says officers request a prisoner transport wagon, but it's unclear when that wagon actually arrives. At some point, Gray was placed in a wagon, driven about a block down the street, and then taken out as additional restraints were put on him. Now, none of that is accounted for in the department's timeline. The department's timeline picks up at 8:54 when the police wagon leaves. Within 30 minutes of placing those additional restraints on Gray, paramedics are being called to the Western District. Gray's family tells us he died around 7 this morning, a week after his arrest. As city officials talked about Gray's death, supporters in the community demanded answers for a second straight day outside of the police department's Western District. They were led by out-of-state activists who were already in Baltimore as part of a 5-state march to D.C. focused on putting an end to racial profiling and police-related deaths. Fox 45's Adam Yosem caught up with them today.
Come on, y'all! Come on, y'all!
They're half a block away.
Let's go! Come on!
On their New York to D.C. journey to address police brutality,
Rise up! It's our day!
this activist group took a detour
So we're out here to support the community.
following this morning's tragic news in Baltimore.
We doing this for Freddie Gray!
Out-of-towners marching alongside locals, bringing their questions.
What took place in that time lapse?
The lapse between Freddie Gray conscious in custody to a coma and shock trauma. That was last Sunday.
7 days ago, we watched y'all throw this young man into the back of a damn paddy wagon and break his neck.
1 week later,
I just left that house with him. He ain't never coming back because of y'all.
the rally is about more than demanding answers.
I'm a black man. This could easily be one of my sons. It could easily be me.
Some found themselves protesting outside Western District for the second straight day.
We want justice! We want justice!
A larger crowd than when Freddie Gray's godbrother found himself outside banging on the station's door following Freddie's arrest.
They was in there. They was open. Why ain't nobody come to the door?
1 week later, that question still unanswered.
We're proving the point that Baltimore is still under siege in its hunting season for black men in America, and we're calling it to an end.
Though Freddie Gray's life came to an end this morning, the community's quest for justice has just begun. Adam Yosem,
Every Saturday till we get justice.
Fox 45 News.